welcome to another edition of Cooking with Lily and Generoso. I am Generoso.
I'm Lily.
And what we're going to do today is a very simple dish that's awesome for this cold fall, Zuppa di Cavolo and Cannellini, which is a very, very nice way of saying soup with kale and white kidney beans. And I think you're really, really going to enjoy this. Very simple, not a lot of ingredients, not a lot of prep time. Let's see what you'll need. First, we've taken a head of kale, and we kind of pre-did this because I wanted to make a very fine chop, and we've cut it into very small pieces. So one decent head of kale that you'll get at any grocery store, a large onion, some wonderful garlic from the beautiful Rafi estates. Thank again to Bob and Sherry Rafi. Since moving to California, we have decided that being that we cannot get any of the tomatoes that we love, the pastene and the cento, are nowhere to be found, this is the best thing. It's very basic, just tomatoes, water and salt. The folks at Ralph's put it out, and they're really exceptionally good crushed tomatoes. White kidney beans, of course, cannellini beans, some sea salt, some wonderful pears, some oregano, some black pepper, and we're going to do a little bit of prep in the next few minutes. I mean a little bit of prep, and we'll be right back with the next step in making your wonderful Zuppa di Cavolo and Cannellini. And welcome back to part 2 of Zuppa di Cavolo and Cannellini. So, we've done a little bit of prep, we've taken the lids off of our cannellini and our tomatoes. Ooh, that was a lot of work. Lily has been sweet enough to mince up all of our garlic, and we have our onions cut into little tiny bite-sized pieces. And I want to remind you again that the kale is very, very small. It's going to cook down for a bit, but we're talking about soup. So, again, you want very small pieces. So we have our Cuisinart ready, and we're going to put it on a very low heat. I'd say about yay. It's like a low heat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our wonderful tomatoes.
Yum, yum, yum.
Let's follow up that can of tomatoes with a can of water. So whatever the size of can of tomatoes you're using, just add a can of water to that, which is beautiful. We're not going to put the cannellini beans yet. Instead, we're going to talk to our friends, Mr. Onions. Look at all those onions. That's an ungodly amount of onions, but it's going to make the soup really, really wonderful. And then we're going to add our friends, Mr. Garlic. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to put in this concoction and a little bit of oregano. I'd say like 3 or 4 solid dashes of oregano. Open the pour spout of the pepper and put a good amount of pepper and about a teaspoon of sea salt. Okay? And that's all in there, and it's looking rather beautiful. Give it a nice good stir. And what we want to do is we want to cover this, and we want to let this go for about 20 minutes. So we're going to turn on our handy dandy timer and let that first part cook for about 20 minutes, and then we'll be back with the second part of making a Zuppa di Cavolo and Cannellini in just a moment. So our soup has been cooking for about 20 minutes. Has a really lovely odor, wouldn't you say, Lily?
Yes.
Absolutely. So we are now going to add our next portion, which is, of course, the wonderful fresh kale. And then we're going to stir the kale into the pot. And again, kale cooks down. You're going to be like, hey, Gina, isn't that a lot of kale? But it's not. It's a special kale. So we're going to mix this in. And then as soon as this actually gets incorporated into the broth, we are going to put in our cannellini beans. But let's make sure we get this nice and done. So this is a really fun soup. The entire cooking time should take at the most 1 hour. But in this circumstance, honestly, we're going to go 20 minutes with the initial broth. Alright, that looks like it's nice and in. The kale, that is. Now we're going to add our wonderful cannellini beans. And unlike, for example, unlike the minestrone that we make where we really want our white kidney beans to dissolve, we still want our white kidney beans in this soup to be intact. So we're not going to aggressively stir this. We'll give it a gentle stir about every 10 minutes for the next 40. But that should just be it. Let's add a little tiny bit of olive oil.
For some fat.
Absolutely good, wholesome American fat. And There we go. We're going to let this cook again for about, let's say another 35-40 minutes. And we'll keep the cover on half. Turn the flame down. It's about nice low. And we'll see you in about 40 minutes with our wonderful zuppa. So here we have it. Your Zuppa di Cavolo a Cannellini. Took it off the fire about 10 minutes ago. Let it cool down a bit before you serve. I made a little focaccia to go along with it, so you always want to serve your soup with a little piece of bread. You have a wonderful creamy here, and hope that this warms up your very, very cold fall. Much love to all you folks out there in New England as well. I'm thinking of you when I make this dish.